Good evening and welcome to the We Are Rise show. I'm your host, Brett C. Collins. How's everybody doing on this very bitterly cold Friday, man? It's freaking cold here in Florida, and I have to tell you right now, freezing my ass off. It's been brutal. Let's welcome my co-host, Marshall Smith. What's going on, buddy? How you doing? Cold over there?
Yeah, it was cold last. Yeah, I mean, not as bad as where you're at, I don't think, but
Right.
I'm over it.
Yeah,
They
I mean, I'm still trying to get better, get well. I feel better today, but I mean, I sat outside. I mean, I was out most of the day, and then it was nice and cool and stuff. It was in the 50s, but then dropping down. This morning 35, last night in the 40s. I was just like, I can't go biking. I mean, you could do limited walking. I mean, even the dog is like, yeah, he wants to go back. I put a sweater on him. He still wants to go fucking back. He doesn't want to go out. It's too freaking cold. It's crazy. The ground's too cold. It's unbelievable. Tonight's show, moving in a single direction, ladies and gentlemen, like a runaway train, and it cannot be stopped at this point. No, it can't. That's a paraphrase for something I'm going to cover tonight. Let's welcome Pill.net and Rumble. How's everybody doing out there? Hello out there on YouTube. Yes, we are over there. Please share and subscribe. Linda Perino, I'm freezing my buns off. Yes. Hello out there. Hello to you. Yes, we all are cold. It's been cold in this bitter South. I think most of the country, was it Southeast, Southwest, has been experiencing it. I don't know about the Northeast per se. Let me know where you are and your temperatures are and see how you're doing and stuff. I heard Jacksonville is getting snow. Is that true? Did they get flurries at all?
I haven't heard that.
Has it happened?
I don't think so.
44 in Texas, 23 in the morning. That's cold. Yeah, I just talked to True Reporting, and he said it was 14 degrees there right now. 14 degrees. It's got to snow.
We're gonna warm up soon. We're gonna warm up starting tomorrow. It's gonna gradually
Yeah.
go up. So
Oh, it's just
tomorrow
been,
it's gonna be like 72 here.
and we don't put the heat on
Oh,
typically. I'll wear a sweater, long
shit,
pants,
I've had the
so
heat.
I don't care about the heat. I mean, because I can't sleep in the heat. I got to have that cool, but when
Oof,
it's like,
oof.
yeah, when there's a chill, I'm like, dude, I'll slip in sweatpants, wear socks, whatever I got to do,
Can't
the
do
long
that.
pants or whatever it is and stuff. But it's just
8
brutal.
inches in Miami. No, not really.
8 inches in Miami, 8 inches of what? A rain or snow?
Alphabet says 8 inches. Maybe he's talking about the. Never mind. Forget
Don't
it.
say it. Yeah, don't say it. Don't say it. I was going to say something too. Please don't say it. I'm going to
talking
be
about the
banned
Cuban.
again or censored on YouTube.
Talking about the Cuban sandwiches.
Oh, I was going to say the long cigars. The
Yeah,
long cigars. You
the
know,
uh, the
you know.
Cubanos,
Yeah, the 8.5 by 60s.
the Bill Clinton.
Yeah, the Bill Clinton. Welcome in, True Terran. What's up, Rumble? Welcome in, everybody. Thea, thank you for the 1,700 gold pills. Good to see you. Wood USA, how you doing? Sausage Launcher in the house. Thank you for the 217 gold pills, Wood. Who else is here? TT, how you doing? Are you cold? Is my Florida peeps cold? Let me know. Patty B, how you doing? Music, please. Yes, the music is on. I have the music going and stuff. Senior Polo, what's up? How's everybody doing? I'm glad to see everybody here. I know it's Friday. I know it's cold. Biblical Smackdown. How you doing? 19 this morning in North Carolina, Super D. Yeah, my neighbor was just in Asheville, and he was telling me when he got back like last week, and he said that he was in Nashville, and he said, yeah, the whole thing, that the trees are still, I mean, they're still going through the process of rebuilding, reconstituting out there. But he said, yeah, the trees are damaged, the lake. He mentioned a lot of stuff out there. He took pictures. He showed me. Maybe he'll send me those pictures and upload it and stuff. But it's crazy. It's going to take some time for to get back. Do we even know the real numbers of how many people that were just washed away? I mean, have we gotten the real numbers about that? Have they even told us about that? Have we gotten any answers about what was taking place? Did Duke Energy really lift the dam? Did the governor tell them that? I'd like to see people
I
arrested for
don't
that,
think
but
we're
I
ever
don't
going to
know.
get any answers to all that.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't
I
know.
think half those people are under mud. Sadly.
Yeah, sadly.
Remember the movie Deliverance? That's what
Oh
it
yeah,
reminded
oh yeah. That's
me. It
just.
flooded the whole. You know,
If you haven't seen that movie, you haven't lived.
you got to see it, man.
You got to see it to understand what life is like at a certain level and a certain perspective from certain points of people.
What law?
Yeah, what law? Exactly. Maybe that's what we got to start doing here. Maybe that's what we got to bring to Minnesota. Okay?
Get your crossbar.
Yeah. Yeah.
What law?
What law? Exactly. This is not the scoff law where you just walk. It's not going to happen. So Elon Musk, time to invoke the Insurrection Act. We'll be covering a lot of different discussions tonight. We'll get into Greenland. There's a lot of complexity surrounding Greenland that we're going to see and discuss. But I want people to understand deliverance, Trusty, turn up deliverance. There's a lot of discussion that's going on that I think that is going to be twofold. And I'm going to cover one level of this. I will appear on Thomas's show on Tuesday. We might discuss the second part of that there. And he's got a whole host of stuff that he wants to break down. So here we go. Can you feel it? Yes. Some call it the Overton window. I do not. Others call it zeitgeist. I will never call it zeitgeist. But it's the collective sense, maybe wisdom, feeling that we're all moving in one direction, almost like a freight train, that you cannot stop at a certain point. Thus, I paraphrased that sentence there. That's how it feels to me, the Insurrection Act. Yes, I believe that's where we're going. The question is not if, but when. I think President Trump, by announcing this and putting this out there, he's invocated that was part of this whole thing with the Insurrection Act. He's let everybody know, put everybody on blast that it's coming. We're not going to tell you when, but it's coming. And Elon Musk just added his finger to the scale to make when be right now. He put some certain facts out here. He says the Insurrection Act has been invoked 30 times. 17 different presidents, 37% of American presidents have invoked the act. It was invoked to deal with rebellions and uprisings. I think that's what we're having. And riots and paid saboteurs. A couple of things I was looking up before we get to this. I want to say this. If paid insurgents, Marshall, are U.S. citizens or others operating within the U.S., but acting as agents of foreign enemies, like, say, funding by a terrorist organization or a hostile state actor or actors engaging in armed attacks, they could be designated as unlawful enemy combatants. I was wrong. All right. But they can be designated as unlawful under the international humanitarian law, where mercenaries or are unprivileged belligerents, those fighting without affiliation to a state's armed forces, they can be deemed as combatant protection and be detained, prosecuted, and executed. Protests are not protected under the First Amendment if violence or incitement or violence happens. And all these things under 18 U.S.C. Code 23848 can be followed up by foreign violations, that foreign action. That's where money transfers, that you're paid as a foreign agent. So if these provocateurs that are on the ground, Marshall, are paid from a foreign dignitary or a foreign agent, all right, then they could be charged with foreign violations and influence peddling and considered spies under the Espionage Act. So this gets into a deeper, more perplexing, more profound. It depends on how far the Justice Department wants to go with this, and if the Justice Department is going to handle this per se. I mean, this is something to consider. Some facts here. Insurrection Barbie, the Insurrection Act invoked. There you go. The Insurrection Act has been invoked 30 times. A lot of people saying historical invocations, the Insurrection Act. I mean, I'm not going to go through it. Thomas Jefferson, George Washington, John Adams, James Madison, James Monroe, Quincy Adams, Andrew Jackson did a couple of times, Martin Van Buren, John Tyler, James Polk, Zachary Taylor, Millard Fillmore. I bet you half the country don't even know who these fucking presidents were. Franklin Pierce, come on. James Buchanan, Abraham Lincoln, yeah, you know that one. Grant, Andrew Johnson, here's a one. Reconstruction Act, era of violence in the South, including the race riots of the Ku Klux Klan. Interesting. Rutherford B. Hayes. There's so much more. You know, George Bush Sr., Woodrow Wilson did it. I'm going to get to George Bush Sr. Dwight D. Eisenhower. This was a good one. He did it. Little Rock crisis in Arkansas. And then you go back here. Richard Nixon. Bush did it twice. I thought he did it once. He did it with the Rodney King LA riots, but he also did it in the Virgin Islands with the Hurricane Hugo. I think that was in '89, which eventually hit South and North Carolina, but that led to a whole type of upheaval in the area, and then he had to be involved about invoking that to help quell the firestorm that was just out of control. But it's just something to think about. I think this is interesting subject matter. When I think Elon Musk puts these out, Marshall, he highlights the fact that other people pick this up. And again, we're in a single direction. We're on a freight train. We're headed to a destination that can be unchanged. All right, that cannot be stopped. It's an immovable force, and we're on the trajectory. It cannot be undone. And I think that's the point. That's what Elon Musk put out. That's the basis of tonight's show, because there's many immovable objects that are in place right now that are fast speeding bullets, that are freight trains, that are headed to their destination, that cannot be undone. And I wanted to cover that tonight, Marshall. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, when you were mentioning the protesters and they're getting violent and getting shot and all that, they can be also. It's like they're double agents, but they're civilians. It also reminds me of, remember in Mad Magazine, that cartoon called Spy versus Spy.
Yes,
it kind of reminds.
Used to read it all the time.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of that. Now they're not actual government people. But as we know, the government uses civilians all the time. I guarantee you that some of these people are proxies of the corrupt part of one of our agencies or a couple of our agencies. So,
Biblical Smackdown. There you go. What's up, buddy? They are enemy combatants. Are they unlawful enemy combatants, or are they enemy combatants? Because when I was researching this, they cannot technically be it, but under the Patriot Act, they could be duly noted as unlawful. See, when the January 6th protesters were arrested, they were under the seditious clause, but they weren't tried for treason. All right, because no one did want to, they couldn't sell that argument. But they also weren't not labeled enemy combatants for a reason. They were just labeled and deemed insurrectionists, and they just, what did they do? They suspended habeas corpus on all their rights, and they were thrown in jail without the 4th, 5th, and 6th Amendment. And all the legal rights were what? Dispatched with for some for 6 months to a year. And so the argument is, if we're going to look at what took place with 1,800 to 2,000 plus January 6 people and stuff, that they were just basically picked up off the street, arrested. They had no rights. They had no viability for a 6th Amendment, for a 5th Amendment, to get a lawyer. They were just held without what? Without bail, without any type of legal due process. So my question will be, how do we view all these people that are paid provocateurs that we can prove? That's why ICE is coming out. They're swinging hard. They're arresting people. They're extracting information. That's the key that you got to think of. And I think in some way, you'd have to consider that there are FARA violations, that there are espionage violations, there are influence peddling. How far can we go with this in some way that it can rise to an occasion to say that the hostile actors that are being paid out to interfere with lawful orders in some way can be deemed in this manner? I know that's going to be a large pressing of conversations in the courts, and how they can detain these people, and how they're going to attribute a certain insignia of them, and what are they willing to go forward with. All right, so if the ones that they find that are paid, then where do they come from? Will they give up those people? And I think it's all about what Besant said. It's all about the rats. All right, ratting each other out. All right, jumping ship, getting a pass. So the information will come back to find out who are these people, the architects that are sabotaging our, let's just say, the lawful orders of the President of the United States, the Justice Department, the executive orders in every way. I think that's something to consider and think about. Curious Cat, Gift of the Cookie, thank you so much. Let's listen to this. This came out yesterday, but again, I wasn't around yesterday. So let's just play this because I thought this is interesting. And listen to what he says here. This is Mike Davis saying from Article 3 Project. He says something interesting.
Who think that they can, by force, resist these immigration efforts. That is textbook insurrection. That is textbook seditious conspiracy. Those are very serious federal felonies, along with assaults on law enforcement, along with harboring illegal aliens, along with conspiracy generally. I would say to Governor Walz and Mayor Frey, you're playing a very deadly game here, and you could end up in federal prison if you do this. In addition, the president can and should invoke the Insurrection Act, which is passed by Congress to allow the president to federalize the Minnesota National Guard to assist federal law enforcement in executing federal immigration laws and to put down this insurrection.
And in fact, it has led to bloodshed. 2 individuals emerged from an apartment last night, seemingly taking up Frey and Walz on their invitation and interfering in an ICE arrest, joining an assault against an ICE officer. But I'm going to return to that question, Mike. Let's say President Trump does invoke the Insurrection Act. What then? How does that unfold in Minnesota?
First of all, he already has invoked it. He's invoked it several times. All right. In his truth tweet or wherever you want to put it out, he's already let them know in Minnesota that it's going to happen. It's not about if, it's now when. The time frame will be accordance. You won't know about it. You'll wake up in the middle of the night and it's already happened. And that's how it's going to come. And it's going to probably come between the hours after midnight, between 1 and 4. That's my guess. Now, what the time frame is, we're heading into Martin Luther King holiday. I'm not saying now, but there's going to be an ample amount of time that he can do this. And a lot of people are concerned because he could do it state by state. He could do it sanctuary state to state, city by state, city by city fiefdom by city fiefdom. He could do this. But in this case about Minnesota, we're specifically focused on, we don't know how expansive this is. If in some way these are overarching discussions that are outside the state jurisdiction in other city-state fiefdoms that are coming from or other places, then that might be more expansive. Listen to the rest of this.
Well, then President Trump could send in the active duty military forces into Minnesota, into Minneapolis, to put down the rebellion, to put down the insurrection. He could also federalize the Minnesota National Guard. Well, the National Guard would be under federal control, under the president's control, and not under Governor Tim Walz's control. And I would say this, if these Democrat politicians...
Did you just hear that? Not under Governor Tim Walz. So that means that if it's going to be done, you want to bypass the governor, and you probably want to arrest him, delegitimize his authority, arrest the mayor simultaneously, and then take control. You'll declare martial law. I don't know if they'll suspend habeas corpus. That one might be a larger thing. That's going to go to another bigger discussion if they can and cannot do it. But from that standpoint, anybody that will be on a street from a certain period will be deemed, let's just say, a terrorist or someone that's in violation of the order. And that's where we're going. That's how bad it's going to be. And I think people need to get ready for it because I don't think people understand. When we have hurricanes here in Florida, all right, and we just had one, 2 years ago, not even, we had National Guard knocking on my door. My wife already left. I was home. The guy's like, you got to dip out of here. And I'm like, oh, look, if I wanted to stay, I'll stay, but I'm not staying. And he goes, no, you can't stay. And I'm like, you can't tell me not to stay. There's not been a declared emergency where I have to go. There's no martial law. And the guy in the National Guard said, he goes, technically, this is what he said to me. And I want you to consider this. He goes, just because there's a declared emergency and it hasn't been declared martial law and you have to vacate these areas because you're in the low-lying areas and no one's going to come out and survive and stuff, is that technically you're in violation of those and you can be arrested from that. So when a national emergency is given at any pretext, all the media is spinning all nonsensical discussions. They're getting their lawyers up there, their talking points, and making I think, unforced errors by suggesting that people impeding and blocking roads and doing all these things are okay. It's not okay. Everything that is being done, that you are witnessing, is in violation of major laws and codes. All the Insurrection Act does, if we go to the next step, where there be martial law and shut down the state or the city, Minneapolis per se, and that's basically what it's going to be about, the one city where this is being, operated in, that will be determined upon how bad the situation will be. And that is considerable about understanding where we're going in the next phase. Let me continue with this and we're out.
You're hearing that they want to arrest ICE agents around the country when these ICE agents are executing federal immigration laws. That could lead to deadly force being used.
That can lead to deadly force, Marshall. Why do you think that could be lead to deadly force? So you're saying the sheriff, the chief of police, who looks very uncomfortable sitting there, while the mayor, Jacob Bagel, is telling people, you need to resist, you need to push back, you need to fight harder, and his eyebrows are raising. 24 of his officers have resigned. 17 have joined ICE currently right now, and that is basically that the number is being floated out there that there are more people quietly leaving the Minneapolis Police Department. What a bunch of pussies. At least they're signing up with ICE, so I commend them of wanting to push back, because obviously the mayor controls the police force, the city council controls the police force. They're pulling back. There's no authority there. The lack of authority that is being done is based upon a riot crowd, a rebellious crowd. Really, the people, the criminals are running this city and allowing this type of miscreants to go, let's just say, unchecked and unveiled, and it has to stop, and it has to stop, and it has to come really hard.
I saw that interview, the press conference with that police chief and the Waltz guy, or the mayor, whichever one it was. And yeah, the chief didn't look pleased with that. He was not going in on that. And I do believe that as soon as, I believe it was Waltz that said this stuff, that you got to arrest the ICE agents or whatever. I think it was Waltz, wasn't it? And I would say that as soon as that press conference happened, that somebody from the federal government, I don't know who, but somebody probably talked to that police chief right after that.
Yeah.
I can only imagine that there's no way that did not happen. Somebody talked to him. You cannot.
Where is the attorneys for the city of Minneapolis, the municipal attorneys that are there and telling them what they can and cannot do, and speaking to the mayor and saying, this is what you can say and what you cannot say, and that you are liable, you are culpable, you're responsible for everything that falls underneath you. And that's why I think that when we're hearing about 24 different sheriffs or deputies or people of the Minneapolis police force dipping out, joining ICE, tells you a lot if that is true. It's unconfirmed, but a lot of people are saying sheriffs are constitutional police departments. Sheriffs are constitutional. Police departments are not. Sheriffs are, biblical smackdown. Are constitutionally police. No, sheriffs are elected enforcers. So when you have a county corruption that's going on, the sheriffs are the arbiter in stuff in this way. We're dealing with federal crimes here. There's a federal order in place to crack down on illegal criminal aliens, not to arrest citizens. But since they're impeding the law, they send in federal marshals and other federalized Department of Correction officers and other people to help assist with the fallout because of the interference, because the Minneapolis Police Department has failed. They've been told to stand down by the mayor and the city council. Sheriffs swear the Constitution, police departments do not. Yes, that is correct. The sheriffs have to uphold law in the counties and the cities they're in. But in this case, is the sheriff doing his job? No, he's not. He should resign in disgrace and rat out these people. I think in some way he's probably holding his breath. I don't know what's going to take place. I don't know what's going to happen. But look, he looks like he's under duress. I think he's being forced to do this. But if he steps down, this whole thing collapses. And he might be there to keep this thing going, knowing full well behind the scenes he's hearing is that there's going to be the Insurrection Act. There's going to be National Guard troops come in, and they're just basically saying, hold the line, tag the line, stand put. Let's just, brace ourselves. I mean, I'm not going to defend this guy. But look, Mayor Bagel with lox and cream cheese, he's done. He's finished. His actual direct actions have hurt, complicitly and implicitly hurt agents on the ground and have created a divide in the city that is now what? Attacking federal officers. The only way to quell this is with the Insurrection Act because the rebellion has to be put down. And the question will be, how many of these people that will be arrested, that we'll find out that were paid agents of said provocateur or tours of, let's just say, foreign interference, influence peddling, and many other subversive activities, that is going to be great. When we find out who was behind this or whom was behind this, look out. It's going to get ugly. Traces C4, I think they won a civil war. That Fry, of course, Waltz, he's a coward and China owns him too. Look, they're pushing this for a reason. They want this to happen. Of course, they want President Trump in an election year to what? To decide on pushing forward with the Insurrection Act. Okay? I just don't think it's going to be at this time. I just don't. I think we'll get to discussing the election. That's when it's going to be necessary. So here we go. Stephen Miller said it perfectly about Minneapolis.
Their own words and hear their own words and judge their own conduct to understand that this is clearly an insurgency against the federal government. They are describing the federal government as an occupying force. Just think about that for a second. The federal government is responsible for the administration of federal law, the administration of federal benefits, the administration of federal resources, the administration of federal immigration enforcement in all 50 states. Right, the federal government, whether it's providing the funding for our entitlement and our safety net programs, whether it is providing security at our airports and our ports of entry, whether it is maintaining the safety and security of our roads, our transportation, our bridges, and of course, the federal government has sole jurisdiction and authority over immigration law because we have one national immigration law. We do not have. We have one national currency, we have one national flag, we have one national constitution, we have one national immigration law. If you were to permit individual cities and states to ratify their own immigration laws for themselves, then you wouldn't have a republic and you wouldn't have a country. And that's the proposition that Fry and Ellison and Waltz are trying to test. They are asserting that they have the unfettered right to harbor aliens who have no right to be in this country and to effectively in fact, to incite violent insurrection from organized agitators against federal forces to prevent those federal forces from effectuating duly enacted immigration law.
Boom. That's it. Marshall, your thoughts? Very clear, concise, lays it all out.
Yeah, I think the Insurrection Act, everybody wants it to happen and all that stuff, and I do too and all. I get it. I think that there is a certain time that Trump is waiting for.
Yeah, and it's not this time.
Not this time. And also, I think that part of it, a lot of it, is all this fraud that's going on.
Mm-hmm.
They've known about it. The federal government, I guarantee you, Trump, they've all known about it. They just want it to be presented as usual to the public by, our fellow peers or whatever.
Well, it has to continue on because if you declare the Insurrection Act, you send the troops in, then everything gets, let's just say, then the only focus is in the National Guard, the Marines, and anybody that's deputized to come in to quell the rebellion, the riot, what have you. And then everything gets parsed away. The media will not focus on it. No one will talk about this. And so while all this continues on, as bad as it may look, or it appears to be in the Axios article that came out this morning regarding President Trump's poll numbers, ICE, DHS, what have you, this continuation of the audit continues to really I think, grow and prosper in a lot of ways that people, or proliferate in a lot of ways that a lot of people are picking out and saying, hey, look, why do you think they're there? You got all this criminal fraud by this corrupt administration there. And now that they're using these people to convince them to what? Block, interfere in many ways, and then use the media as puppets to control the narrative. So the ongoing investigation and discussion of the fraud gets less permeated out there. Super D dropping 117 gold pills. Thank you so much. I saw you, Darlell. What's going on? You said gifted the can. Thanks again, Brett Marshall. Do you think these people rioting are meant to wear down Leos before the sleeper bad hombres take their place? Well, I think a lot of the sleeper bad hombres, as you put it, already there. We've seen multiple violent gang members outside the state from LA that are Venezuelan per se, that were arrested for damaging, destroying, stealing property inside FBI agents' cars. A lot of these people are being locked down in some way. So the hombres are there. What you're seeing is it's on blast. It's on full exposure. There's a half a dozen whistleblowers from Minnesota government that stated they told Governor Tampon that these frauds were happening. Absolutely biblical smackdown. Like, share, and subscribe. Drop us a gold pill. Comments, questions, concerns. If you want to help out, MarshallKo-Fi.com/SurfDog74. You can help us out on Rumble as well. Drop us a Rumble rant or buymeacoffee.com/WeAreRise. Marshall,
I don't think it's going to happen until after his speech.
Well, he's going to Davis. Yeah, so we'll get to that. Let's just play it right now. So President Trump is outside taking questions before he leaves to go back to Mar-a-Lago. Listen to this.
Well, the Insurrection Act, which has been used by 48% of the presidents as of this moment, the Insurrection Act also, if you look at it, I believe it was Bush, the elder Bush, he used it, I think, 28 times. It's been used a lot. And if I needed it, I'd use it. I don't think there's any reason right now to use it. But if I needed it, I'd use it. It's very powerful.
I don't know about 28 times. I know there's 2 times he used it that we know, but we don't know if he really used it 28 times in areas that was unbeknownst to us. But 2 times that were done in the Virgin Islands and in L.A. So how President Trump is saying that there were 30 times over the course of history that it's been used, 17 times implemented. Certain presidents like Jackson and Lincoln and Johnson used it multiple times. So the question is that obviously this is the way to bifurcate a seditious, subversive invasion. In this case, what we're seeing right now is paid rebellion or, insurgents. What do you want? I call them enemy combatants because I like that terminology. They're actually utilizing force. I think Biblical Smackdown gets it, that they're actually applying force and attacking these officers. So you can deem these people, as they're getting paid, to simultaneously attack these people so they can allow the illegals or whoever to go free or to be set free in some way. That shows you they have now violated their citizenship because they're protecting foreign invaders, all right, domestically, and they're getting paid to do it. That's seditious, that's treasonous, Marshall, and that could be under, like I said, FARA and other scenarios of influence peddling, the 18 USC Code 2384 that were seditiously charged for the January 6th supposed insurrectioners.
Well, you know what? And the other thing I just thought about is that one of the other reasons that they're waiting, his team, is that you want their side to use up as much firepower as they can. Mm-hmm. And by firepower, that means anything they're using, whether it's people protesting, whatever. And the more firepower they give up, the weaker they become, but they also expose more and more the people that are involved in all this. So obviously you want to get to know who more of them are involved.
Well, you also want to see how bad it's gotten. I'm going to show you what I told you on Wednesday, They have basically suspended schools. The superintendent allowed schools in St. Paul and other areas of Minneapolis for the kids to fight on the Capitol, and then allow these kids to engage and then use them as human shields to protect them from being run over. Because God forbid you have an ICE agent or ICE agents wanting to get involved, shooting children or getting involved, because they're going to use the human shields of these young kids of schools to terrify and ratchet up this whole thing, because no one really cares about Renee No Good, because she tried to kill 2 officers with her car. All right. And the fact is that her grandfather, or the actual father-in-law of her, before she went dark, demonic, and lesbo and trans, she went down a wrong path. She didn't seek God. She saw something else, and then it bit her in the ass. Eric Daugherty put it out. DHS Christy Noem reveals what personally Tim Waltz in private conversation, and all it makes sense. This is a private conversation that Christy Noem said. I said, sir, listen, Tim, you know the situation, what's going on. Let's listen to this. This I thought was fascinating.
Chill out.
I said, Tim and I served together in Congress. We both ran for governor at the same time. We have very different ways of governing. Our state in South Dakota was extremely successful and grew economically and safety. He drove it into the ditch. And it has been an absolute disaster. He let it burn down in 2020 and then asked surrounding governors to send our National Guard to help him because he waited too long to make any decisions to bring peace. I'm worried that he's doing the same thing.
I understand that history, but when you...
So he's purposely slow walking this, as she's alluding to, Marshall. She's saying that he's slow walking this for what? What in the end does he think that will protect him? Because the longer you keep this up, the more you string this along, the worse it gets for you. The stuff is out. You're under investigation. The indictment's already been handed out. Both you and Jacob Bagel, okay? Mr. Fry, Mr. Capers and cream cheese and smoked salmon, you're fucking done. You're done. It's just about what? Holding out as long as they can until they have to resign.
You approached him on the phone and made your appeal. What did he say?
I said, sir, listen, Tim, you know the situation, what's going on. We are enforcing federal law. If you don't like the laws, go change them, but don't do it by giving place to these protesters and rioters that are perpetuating violence. And I said, you have my personal cell phone. You call me. I
disagree with this. She should have said, if you don't like the law, too fucking bad. You had an opportunity to change it, but this is federal law. You can't change federal law. So I think she's wrong. There's a supremacy clause. There's other things at play here. I think she tipped her hand and she made a faux pas because she misspoke. This is federal law. It supersedes the 10th Amendment regarding this and immigration law. See, Jacob Fry and this piece of shit governor, Waltz, Mr. Governor Retard, wanted to use Keith Ellison, the AG, who's on tape right now, of taking money from Somalis and being involved to make sure to cover this up. That's the bribe that he has, that the FBI has. They wanted to make sure that they have certain laws. There are no sanctuary state laws that you can hide criminal illegal aliens that are committing fraud. So when you really think about it, it's not that the fact that they're going after these people because they're illegals and they're scum and they shouldn't be here in the first place, and they got a 68 acumen IQ. It's because they've been used and utilized as pawns and couriers to carry out this fraud, that this whole thing is exploded, and how expansive it is, and it's spread to Washington State, Iowa, Oklahoma, and Ohio. And so it's gotten worse and worse and worse. And so the longer this keeps going on, the more that it blows up the argument about keeping these people in here at all and having refugee status. They shouldn't have any status. They should be dropped in the middle of the fucking ocean, swim home, and let's see if the great whites want to dip on some black meat.
Need me, you call me, we will be there to help back you up, but protect your city, protect your state. And he paused for a few seconds and he just said, yeah, okay.
Okay. Yeah, you go ahead. See, that's all he could say. He's got nothing. I mean, look, the Clintons didn't want to show up for the subpoena. They didn't want to show up to Comer's thing. You have people saying, don't go arrest them. They're going to dip out. Don't extradite them. What do you think is going to be Walz? You think they're going to be able to find Walz? You think it's possible? And I'm going to throw this out there, Marshall, that he dips out. That he dips out, leaves Fry to fucking fry himself. But does he dip out?
You know, I wouldn't be surprised if he makes a deal of some sort.
A deal
Yeah.
about what, though?
Well, I mean, not going to jail would be one thing.
He's going to jail, man.
Yeah.
I mean, he's already submitted to the idea he's not running. So if we parse out certain texts that were future proofs past, and they say some people that supposedly submit, they'll get it. How can this guy get a deal? You oversaw $12 to $19 billion of fraud. You might have been a participant in, but you were what? An actuary in it. You controlled the level of this. Whether you were helping facilitate it and guide it, that's another thing. If you can give up information, I can't imagine him not going to jail. Just because you submitted and you're not running, he needs to resign. The longer this goes on, the more it looks like we need to send people in to have him arrested. This is the most embarrassing thing. There are people on X. There are people all over. When are there going to be arrests? And you wonder why the fence sitters, the fake fucking MAGA people that are really retard Democrat liberals or Democrat or independents, like, you know, all these other people that pretend, oh, yeah, I supported Trump, and now they're all turning coat. Like, we sit back and say, how do we understand this? Is it the longer it goes on, the worse it gets? Or is it because it has to go on as long as it gets to look as bad as it shall ever be? Is that the scenario that we're imposing, Marshall?
You know what? I'll just say it like this: these Democrats, they don't walk away. They don't.
They'll never
and
walk
I gotta
away.
give them. I gotta give them credit for that because Republicans do it all the time.
Well, this is the point, though. Wait a minute. You got to give them credit. Yeah, you got to give them credit because the Republican rhino cucks are pussies. They are vaginas.
Yeah.
Yes, I get that. But the bottom line is that are they just vaginas and pushies and don't have a backbone and don't have a spine? Or are they part of it?
They're part of it.
And so they have to look weak-kneed, all right, bend down in a position of, like, you know, nausea and vomiting so they can turn away from what really is taking place by the Democrats, that they're fucking just murdering and killing and raping everybody blindly, whether it's rhetorically, metaphorically, or systematically, financially. That's what's happening. And so they turn a blind eye. They're part of it. And, you know, we sit here and say, do we have a fucking Congress? No, we don't. And we'll get to President Trump saying, do we really need a 2026 election? No, we don't. No.
I think it's
not after this. I hope we should say that. I'm not going to tell people not to vote, but I'm going to say right now, we shouldn't have a 2026 election because you can't have it both ways. Let's continue with this. So Florida's new hardline state, this is for my Florida peeps, impacting illegal aliens. Why isn't every state doing this? Look at this. Florida is on the brink of passing one of the toughest immigration enforcement bills. Bans illegal aliens, no bank accounts, no loans, no home ownership, no licenses or state benefits, automatic at fault when they hit your car with no insurance, severe penalties on companies that employ illegal aliens. Fantastic. I mean, that's just... And this is a really good overview of why other states will not deal with it. Why are we such an intolerant state to illegal criminal alien scum? You know why, Marshall? Because we had the Mario boat lift in 1980. And look what it did to the state for those 15 years. All the way into the mid-90s. Miami, Fort Lauderdale, we had bad crime. Criminal activities. We had a largest amount of cocaine and heroin and many other types of different drugs that were just proliferating throughout, and the murder and the death kill were on thing. They made a show about it. They made
Scarface.
movies about it.
Scarface.
Miami Vice. They're going to make another Miami Vice. This doesn't go away. It doesn't go away at thinking this is what it does economically, systematically, what it does from a human element, what it does from a victim element. You cannot walk away from this. You can't walk away from this in any way, Marshall.
No, and I'm so glad to see that report that came out about Florida, because at
We're
least
the
we have
leading state on what to do, how to do it. The question is, will other states follow suit? Maybe hardcore red Republican states will. I don't know about the blue city state fiefdoms, Marshall. I mean, that's going to be really, it's going to be really, let's just say, I think it's going to be very dreamy. And I'll use that context for certain states to want to participate in such a type of scenario that didn't have the type of problem we had from the early 80s all the way to the mid 90s. Because this went on for like 16 years. I mean, from 82 to 96, we had massive amounts of drug crime that were, let's just put it this way, that were out of control, that could not be coordinated. And then the RICO laws came in. They started cracking down by the mid to late 80s. And then in the 90s, they were shutting down all the trafficking of the hardcore drugs. But then you had the hallucinogenic drugs, the MDMA, the ecstasy, all the other stuff started to float in that were systematically being done, and that were working inside the United States to flow through, not outside.
Yeah, and not only that, back then in the 80s, when this Mario boat lift and all these others were coming over here, South Beach was really kind of ghetto back then. It wasn't like, and then it had a renaissance after that passed.
Oh, yeah.
Now it's Art Deco and the old motels that are Art Deco. Anyway, I'll stop there. But yeah, I mean, at least we're Florida. And I wanted to say Texas. What a disappointment in that place. This Abbott guy, I don't know what they're doing over there. So that's a whole
I don't.
That's a whole.
I think he's a rhino cock. I never liked Abbott to begin with.
Shame,
but he keeps getting elected, and you know what? They keep getting worse there in Texas. Thank you, Trusty Turnham. Gift of the cookie, 10% for the big guy. Always for the big guy. Question is, what big guy? Trump won gift of the cookie. Hi, friends. I'm late. You're not late. You're never late. You don't want to say you're late in any sense of that sense of the terminology. In America, we don't have a tax problem. We got a third world shithole problem. And it's got to come to an end, ladies and gentlemen.
We've got a third world problem. This is not an exaggeration. The United States collects over $2.4 trillion in income taxes every year, and then burns $1.5 trillion through fraud, waste, and third world robbery. If the elites actually did their jobs and cut out the waste, the government would only need about $900 billion to function. And here's the crazy part. That would mean anyone earning under $500,000 a year could pay zero income tax, and everything would still be fully funded. So if this money isn't funding our future, whose dream is it really building? Look at Minnesota.
Not
the Somali
ours!
daycare scandal gave us the answer. Billions of dollars you worked for, money meant to feed hungry kids, was diverted through fake daycare centers, phantom meals, and paperwork designed to approve. Not question, no kids, no food, just checks. Your hard-earned labor was turned into Lamborghinis, beachfront mansions, and luxury vacations most of us will never experience. Even after
1 out of 6 children go hungry. 1 out of 3 are homeless. You don't think about those implications? The grift and the graft that goes on, you should be disgusted. You want fucking public hangings. I want these monkeys out. Black, brown, I don't fucking care. However you want to put them in a box, drop in the middle of the ocean, I'm all for it. Because if you can't in some way see yourself hanging these people, and there's no point, just remove them. Put them on a ship and torpedo it. Let's see they swim home. That's all I care about. I really want to see things so dark and ugly for these monsters that were imported in, that were allowed to come in. And yes, call me a racist. I am a racist, and I'm okay and comfortable about that. Because these people will slit your throat, steal your home, kill your kids, rape your daughter, rape your wife, do whatever they fucking can to take over your life. But I'm a racist. When you start waking up to the reality of protecting American citizens, Americans, people actually give a fuck. that are not fucking out to 3 a.m, fucking protesting at 10 degrees snow at the temperatures that they're having in Minnesota and attacking ICE agents for arresting this scum, then you have to ask yourself, who are these people? Why are they out there? They're obviously being paid. What fucking asshat stays out there in a snowstorm or in this temperature of 10 degrees, 15 degrees, freezing your ass off to protest what? Federal law being enforced. What people? Rebellious, insurrectionists, insurgents, paid actors, people that are unlawful enemy combatants.
For a lifetime of honest work. On top of that, your tax dollars were routed to foreign organizations the U.S. military is fighting. Let that sink in. We went from defending liberty to bankrolling the threat. That's not compassion. That's collapse. And when systems fail like this, they don't admit mistakes. They don't apologize for wasting your money. They dig deeper into your pockets to fund their failure.
Yep, that's it. So I saw a lot of people saying on Wednesday's show, Marshall, I'm not paying taxes. Don't pay taxes. Don't pay your property. Don't pay your property tax. Don't pay your this. Don't pay it. If that's what you feel, don't pay it. I mean, it's a disgrace. It's disgusting. That's what we're dealing with right now. And we all sit back and say, what's being done about it? The only thing that we can do is what? Support the federal law enforcement that is actually what? That has been tasked to take down this criminal element. Are we getting anything out of it? Well, there's some resolve out of it. We're feeling some type of reluctance because we don't feel that there's enough being done in some way. We want the hammer to drop. But the question is, how will the hammer be dropped? And will we be comfortable with the hammer being dropped? Because a lot of people don't know what the hammer is, Marshall.
I don't think, if you don't pay your taxes or you don't file your taxes, I don't think anything's going to happen.
Right. You just won't
I
get
don't
to
think
the,
nothing will
you won't get
happen
to the, let's be clear about that. If you tell
Now,
people
I'm not
that,
saying
you're not going to get, let's be clear. We're not telling people to not or do it.
do what
I don't
you
care. I
want.
mean, the 16th Amendment is garbage, so I'm not going to sit there and argue. But if you choose not to do it, just remember one thing. You're not going to get the deductions that are going to be afforded to you, all right, supposedly, that are going to come out as Bissett has talked about. One Thunder, gift of the can. Thank you so much. Darla, gift of the can. I'm fed up with Abbott. I want a refund for 2020. I voted for President Trump, not a clown and diaper bullshit. Look, I voted for President Trump. I don't like what I have around me in the municipalities and stuff. And, just a couple of years ago, we're saying you got to get out and vote. And people telling you don't vote is wrong. Now, all of a sudden, you have influencers all over the place saying, it's no point in voting. What's the point? No, I disagree. There is a point. But I would say something even more that I do believe with President Trump, we need to shut down 2026. I think because the fraud will be so pervasive, so expansive. It will be so ugly. It'll be a pile of shit that will stink all the way to high heaven. All the way that you can't turn away and look away from it. It would have to be what? Shut down. And the only way that would be feasible and viable is through the Insurrection Act and declaring martial law. So the closer we get to all this nonsense and chaos as it continues to build and move and motivate, that will be the most logical, I think, practical and pragmatic reasoning of shutting down the 2026 election. Let's put it this way. They're going to steal it, and they're going to impeach President Trump. So you know it, and I know it. So why are we sitting here playing patty cake and marbles and fucking every other fucking kid's game? Who fucking cares? Play dirty, play hard, play smart. Do you really care, Marshall, if the 2026 election was shut down based on the supposition and maybe the factual evidence is going to come out because of 2020 and other theft and let's just put it this way, the chaos that cannot be, let's just say, quelled because you have cities burning. And so how are you going to have an election if this continues on through the summer, the spring and the summer, and it spreads like wildfire and we get into election season? How are you going to have systematically a protected election?
Well, I mean, if you got problems with the election like 2020 and then other, probably even up to 24 and before, you've got to look at, okay, what's going to happen? I'm going to lead right into it. I have a feeling that it would not, a part of me believes that it would not surprise me that there is no, the current Congress that we have is not going to be there.
No.
It almost
What if
feels
they're all
like
under indictment?
Yeah,
what if a lot of them are all in indictment? What if the 2020 stolen election
That's what I'm talking about.
is all, let's just say, falls on them? A lot of them that are still there. Let's just say the whole House and the Senate. They're all part of this. I'm not saying all of them. The people that are still there, let's just say the embers that are controlling, that are still there, that helped steal the election, parsed it over with a gold, silver hand job to Mike Pence. Here you go, Mike. Here's your gold, silver dollar, whatever. Stole the election, no redress of grievances, violated all the House laws. Yeah, I mean, has this all been actuated? Yeah. And so President Trump going, bop, 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 dropping a little peace bombs. It's already been done. We're not going to have the election. I really don't think we're going to have it. I think this is all settled law. This is all behind the scenes. There's going to be a point in time come August, maybe before everybody dips out in September, that we're all going to get the heads up about this. This is not going to be the rug pull at the last minute, although I'd like the rug pull at the last minute. You're going to have to get a purge warning sign. That's what I'm saying. I think I got one. Here we go. The indoctrination of political activism are completely acceptable. Allowing your children to go out, stay home, avoid ICE. They're being forced to participate.
I'm out here today because I want to protect my neighbors. I want to protect myself. I want to protect my family and friends. This ain't right. This is not Germany. I don't know why they think.
I want to take a bat to your head and knock some sense into you, bitch.
He's playing God.
Also, to protest, no one can be illegal on stolen land. What do you feel like are some
no one can be illegal on stolen land? I weep for our children.
Just to get rid of ICE, for ICE to leave. They're violent. They're aggressive. They aren't helping anything.
They kill it. They're killing anybody. They're shooting anybody. It's insane.
They're killing anybody, shooting everybody. I feel sorry. I weep for our future. I really do. Alpha, Omega, Alpha, Beta, whatever the fucking names that these things that come up after Gen Z. It's done. It's like that Star Trek new show that's out there that's woke, trans, and fucking gay. Absolutely the most retarded thing that's out there right now. Actors, no. These are real stupid human beings. Fucking stupid human beings. Children, stupid human beings.
Immigrants deserve respect, not fear. Immigrants come for a better future, not to commit crimes.
This is all one big white supremacy act. As my sign says, prisons without due process are concentration camps.
Prisons without due process are concentration camps. Wow. Marshall, I told you they would use the children, and I'm showing you evidence of what they were doing. It's ugly. It's inflammatory. I feel the fact is the parents of these children should be ashamed of themselves. You know what? You probably should have aborted because you shouldn't deserve to have children and raise them in this mind fuck matrix of a world. And all you're doing is what? Seeding the future with low IQ, acumen people. And what? They're going to be destitute in the future. They are destined to fail because you failed them. You failed them. The only time I say when abortion's relevant is when you have parents of the millennial to the Gen Z, which we know that 1/3 of that population has been because they're 71 million and almost there's a certain percentage, 1/3 of them are all gone. The question is, that's from the millennial generation, not from the Gen X. Because the longer you go back, the less abortions happen. We had 65 million of Gen Xers, but only, 2/3, or excuse me, 1/4 of the abortions happen, and then it goes systematically forward and systematically back, where the baby boomers had the least amount of abortions. But the failure to comply here, to recognize what we're seeing is the most ludicrous thing. It is an embarrassment. It is an embarrassment. And I don't see how we see our way out of this of having a discussion, talking to people, because the education system is so screwed up. It's so wholly controlled and captured. I think people are going to have to see things through physical force, violence, that the only thing that they understand and will noticeably recognize in their future and how these things will be played out will have to be systematically be put to the test. And I think it's about time.
That girl said that they come here for a better future. Well, the problem is their better future is we're paying for it. That's the problem with their better
we're not
future.
paying for it. They're stealing it from us.
Well, yeah, okay, yeah. They're
or we're allowing them to steal it from us, or we're participating in the theft from some to others to steal from us.
And this stupid young girl has no idea what she's even talking about.
None of them do. None of them have an intellectual discussion. They're reading talking points. They're reading people's, let's just say, scribble from Scrabble. They're reading bullshit. Trump's immigration erosion worries his team. This was earlier today. A lot of people talked about it. I'm going to go through it briefly. I'm not worried about it. The worries in part of Trump's brain trust are the first signs of internal second-guessing of controversial enforcement and tactics. Let me say right now, after we just heard from Steve Miller, right? Steve Miller and Kristi Noem, don't buy into this. Don't buy into this. They're looking at this from polling, which I'm going to cover.
Polls, yeah, polls.
Polls. And polls mean shit. The private polling suggesting a rupturing of the coalition of independent, moderate, and minority voters who were key parts of Trump's victory in 2024. If Republicans lose the House, Trump will head into his final 2 years. They will impeach him. They will. They're going to impeach him. The Colorado delegation and people that there already said we're going to impeach him. It's already happening. They're in the process of setting up another impeachment process. This is all going to be shut down because we're not going to have an election, because the fraud, the abuse, the waste, everything's going to stop. We're going to have a period of time where everything is just, we're going to revisit the pause. But it's a pause that's going to break the bank. Let's continue. I wouldn't say I'm concerned about the policy, a top Trump advisor told Axios. He wants deportations. He wants mass deportations. We want it all. We're told it's like over 2,460,000 plus. Look, we need to have 100,000, 200,000 every month. That's the only way you're going to gin this up. I mean, it's got to have 2 to 3 million a year, maybe more. It looks bad, so he's expressed some discomfort about that. Several Republicans in Congress expressed concern to the White House about how the raids are playing out. No one cares. No one cares. There's a majority of people that stick with Trump that want this to happen. I believe that we're not getting the message out because we're not showing the pictures of the murdered women and children that are out there by the illegal criminal alien scum. And I would implore the Trump administration or anybody else to put up Caroline Leavitt, an excellent orator. Put up all the people. Every time you speak, you show how many illegals, criminal aliens have murdered American citizens. Show it daily. Shove it down their throat. Shove it up their fucking ass. That is how you put this on blast and say, you know what? Here's another dead American citizen. Now let's go burn down more houses and raid more places in Minnesota. That's after we go after the governor and the mayor bagel. You don't give these people an inch. You don't give these people to breathe. And everybody participating, whether they're American citizens or not, are duly looking, being put in a database that are going to be what? Reflected upon unlawful enemy combatants. I promise you that is happening. They did it in January 6th to American patriots that supported President Trump. They put them in jail. Fuck you and die. Now, payback's a bitch. They were allowed to do it. You don't tell me one hand doesn't feed the other, Marshall?
Well, and another thing is, how are they going to have a impeachment if there's no Congress?
Yeah.
I mean, if they're not there, how the hell are they going to impeach them?
Well, that's the argument.
Yeah. I mean,
That's the argument. That is the
go
argument.
ahead, talk your shit. You know, I mean, that's what I mean. And this girl, they really speak, and they don't know at all what they're talking about.
They never
It's
know
really
what they're
just-
talking about.
they
They're
don't.
all about what? They're all about their narratives.
And they're
discussing like,
their
oh, well, he's
emotions.
going to shut down the election. No. The elections are going to implode on their own. Here we go. Trump on 2026 midterms. We shouldn't even have an election. I think he's asking several points here. Why? And listen to what he says here. Trump says here, President Trump rejecting criticism within his own party, the economic challenges facing American people, and polling on Greenland suggested that his second-term accomplishments were so extensive that they should render the 2026 midterm elections unnecessary. Really? After what we just went through, we should just surrender and give up? What happened? Why do people lose their fortitude? Their fucking balls? Did you not just realize what we went through the last 4 or 5 years? People were being rounded up, arrested, doxxed, deplatformed, debanked. And you want to just give up because it's not perfectly aligned systematically what you want. In an interview with Reuters, President Trump expressed frustration that the Republicans may lose control of the House of Representatives and possibly the Senate in November. Oh, my God. Like they do everything anyway. Like they do it. Brett, not to change the subject, but what has gone wrong with Josh Hawley? Yeah, I'll get back to that. Calling it some deep psychological thing. Trump told Reuters that when you win the presidency, you don't win midterms. Is he expressly telling us there is a reason set up in place to purposely happen? It's a designed self-detonation to implode, to steal the midterms. So the incoming party makes sure the outgoing party loses those 2 years, and we continue on with the uniparty base. That's all it is. It's put into, I would say, in some type of unsigned agreement that what it is that we win the presidency, we give up the House, we don't surrender the Senate, or vice versa. Not both. But what we do is we agree to look like we're working together. That is the argument that they're suggesting here. Trump, Reuters reported, repeatedly dismissed concerns by the public, business leaders, and even fellow Republicans on issues ranging from he deemed fake Reuters poll that found that the support just 17% for seizing control of Greenland. He repeatedly declared, I don't care when confronted with the news that Senate Republicans opposed Department of Justice investigation, blah, blah, blah. Trump also dismissed concerns of the American people over high prices over facing all this stuff. A lot of times you can't convince a voter. You have to just do what's right. And then a lot of things I did were not really politically popular. They turned out to be what really worked out well. I think President Trump is suggesting, Marshall, that there is agreement bilaterally inside of the House of Representatives, maybe the Senate, Congress in general, that we see power when an incoming power comes in. But how did that work out under Obama? How did that work out under Biden when they stole the election in 22 and 18 and 20? How does that work out? That only works out when it's dealing with President Trump. So I'm not buying this shit, though. But I do believe there is this uniparty belief that the incoming power cedes power to the outgoing power, and thus rendering it a stalemate or a détente or some type of what? They all get furry points in some way, Marshall.
Yeah, all it does is keep the capos in control, you know, the old mafia capos.
Yeah.
And that's all it does. All it does is keep the old mafia game going. Keep the, you know, that's over with. They just can't handle it because they've had it so long. And they don't want to give it up. And the thing is, as you probably, I'm sure you would agree, that's gone. It's already been gone. The Federal Reserve is a skeleton of itself, in my opinion.
I think it's done at
as
the end
well
of
as
the
the IRS. Those are just skeletons sitting there.
Yeah,
you know.
I personally think drinking my Spindrift. I love it. Non-alcoholic, no sugar. Actually, 1 gram of sugar, and no sodium.
Show the label. You might get a sponsor.
No, I'm not sponsored by it, but I like the apple flavor and the lemon. Spindrift, carbonated beverage, non-alcoholic.
A little vodka would make it.
It probably would go good with vodka. I don't drink vodka. Vodka and me don't go along. But I do like it, and it really gives me a boost. But all right, moving on, because we're running out of time. I'm still dealing with my head cold, so bear with me and stuff. I got all the stuff, the schmutz going in. So Lindsey Graham, Shadow Edgar, going viral because apparently, Wednesday we were covering it. A lot of people saying, "Oh my God, we're going to hit Iran. We're going to hit Iran," and it was basically a thump. It was nothing. So Lindsey Graham, appearing drained and miserable, looking deeply disappointed as reports spread that President Trump refused to bomb Iran, and that's a good thing. Now, President Trump, when he says something, he means something. But the thing is that not every action is an inaction. His verbiage carries weight, as we've seen in Venezuela. So everybody's put on blast, whether you like it or not. And these people got, cock-fucked because listen to this guy. And he's an absolute retard. If we're considering him an actor, he's being put out there to look like the biggest fucking war simp, war pig. Well, then here you go.
Out there that are, in my view, not accurate. President Trump's resolve is not the question. The question is, when we do an operation like this, should it be bigger or smaller? I'm in the camp of bigger. Time will tell. I'm hopeful and optimistic that the regime days are numbered.
Here lies Lindsey Graham. In his grave on his tombstone, he didn't see a war that didn't fuck him in the ass bigger than he projected. That's going to be on his tombstone. Guys, I mean, honestly, it's getting to the point where it's almost comical now. Like he's being forced to say these things. That's the way I look at it. Whether he believes it or not, okay, I believe that in some way that he is being put out there to say this mumbo jumbo. I really do, Marshall, but that's just me.
Yeah, he's not getting his shekels anymore.
Yeah,
that's what he's seeing. He's no longer the matzo ball of Israel anymore.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah,
matzo
too bad,
ball,
buddy. Yeah,
matzo
he is
ball
a matzo
soup. There
ball
you
little
go.
faggot.
Yeah.
The guy. He's not an everything bagel. There's only one of those.
No, there's only one
That's
everything
Stephen,
bagel.
Yes.
Well, we know who the everything bagel is.
And I think that Lindsey Graham Trump has carried this guy as like a hood ornament. Remember in the old days when you used
he puts him in a pocket. He pulls him out. He says, let me activate Lindsey to speak like a bobblehead. And he's like, oh, we need more war. Stick it in my ass. Send a nuke in my ass.
He's like the old pimp. Remember the old pimp mobiles in the 70s or 80s? And they put that glowing, had lights in it, I think. That bird.
Yeah.
That hood ornament.
I'm sure he'd like to be ramrodded in his ass with a nuke.
That's Lindsey Graham.
That fucking guy loves it.
Lindsey Graham is the ghetto pimp mobile hood ornament.
Yeah.
That's what he is. He's a hood ornament for the pimps.
Darlo gifted the can.
He's a war pimp. He's a war pimp. Man.
Yep. Darlo gifted the can. You need some chamomile tea to calm your ass down. Really? You're telling me to calm my ass down? Everybody, Darla L is telling me to calm down. So should I calm down?
No,
let Darla L know. Let Darla L know, because I'm not going to tell her. Super D gifted the cookie. Darla L gifted the can. Thuggish youth stems from the nagger music and lack of belts on that ass. Yeah. Thea dropping 700 gold pills. God help us with the youth is captured. Look, I was reporting that they are suspending the schools so they can bring these kids out. They want to use them as shields. They want to use them as some type of antipathy to blockade and make this more. I think it's disgraceful. The superintendent should be ashamed. The governor's allowing this. It's embarrassing. And I told you this is what's going to happen. They're going to unleash these children. They're going to want the children to be on the streets in the middle of the night and not at school. And what does that tell you? What does that tell you about human shields? So POTUS, if you remember if you ever remember a place called Iraq where everybody was fired, every single police person, what have you, the generals, was fired. They end up being ISIS. Listen to this regarding, this is a discussion I wasn't covering. That's why I kept everything general. The Venezuela opposition, Machado, MC Machado.
The remnants of the Maduro regime, and not with Machado, who has the support of the Venezuelan people.
Well, if you ever remember a place called...
Do you have the support of the Venezuelan people, or does she have the support of the CIA and Israel?
Somebody else, too. Yep.
Called Iraq, where everybody was fired. Every single person. The police, the generals, everybody was fired. And they ended up being ISIS. Instead of just getting down to business, they ended up being ISIS. So I remember that. But I'll tell you, I had a great meeting yesterday by...
I think that's an interesting overview. He's basically saying not everybody appears to be who they are. And just because she might have won the election at the time that was stolen from her, that was supplanted by certain benefactors that wanted her there, just like a certain shine bomb that appears in Mexico. I don't know. I think that is an excellent illustration of explaining this.
A person who I have a lot of respect for.
Always got a lot of respect
and
for.
She has respect, obviously, for me and our country.
Again, I will tell you to go watch season 2 of the Jack Ryan series on Prime on Venezuela. Everything that transpired about Venezuela in that, almost would say there are 5 episodes that are exactly that partition out from beginning to end of what transpired, of what we're seeing now. I'm not shitting you. I watched it again last night. I watched season 3, but season 2 and season 4, I watch all the time. And I can tell you, I go back, rewind, take notes. It's almost identical. And look who the president was. Look who the president became. And look who the president was stolen from. Completely shocking. Let me get out of this and get to the next part of this. He says this.
What do you intend to do with it, and why would you want someone else's Nobel Prize?
Well, she offered it to me. I thought it was very nice. She said,
Did she offer it to him as a bribe?
You know, you've ended 8 wars, and nobody deserves this prize more than in history than you do. And I thought it was a very nice gesture. And by the way, I think she's a very fine woman, and we'll be talking again.
So we'll be talking again. But he's not technically, let's just put it this way, supporting her. Let me show you this right now. Newsday comes out, CIA director. You know, everybody likes this guy. But apparently when you become CIA director, no one likes you after that. John Ratcliffe, he was a very popular congressman from Texas. You know, Trump's inner circle. He's there, traveled to Venezuela to meet the acting president, Delcy Rodriguez. Again, we're recognizing the highest ranking Trump administration official to visit South America country after the U.S. raid captured Nicolas Maduro. I mean, do you think it would safe that the CIA director would travel down there? I mean, he probably had a massive contingent to go down there. We killed 75 people that protected Maduro that were Cuban nationals. I mean, do you think it's not dangerous that him going down there? Are we being told everything that we can see? Again, go watch that Jack Ryan series. You'll be shocked. The meeting Thursday in Caracas, the capital, lasted 2 hours. The official said the meeting came after urging President Trump and was meant to demonstrate the desire for the U.S. for a better relationship with Venezuela. It occurred the same day Venezuelan opposition Maria Corina Machado presented the Nobel Peace Prize. Ratcliffe's visit is likely to be seen as another sign that Trump's willingness to work with Rodriguez, who had been Maduro's second in command until the audacious military operation. Was it this? And I'm not going to go into the read it because I got so much more. Was it this in some way that we hit them and we befuddled them to no end, that they're left basically hanging on to what's left of the short and curlies, and they don't know how to deal with this? Is there an actual apparatus an apparatchik in place right now, propping this illegitimate regime up behind the scenes, and we are controlling them. Is it possible? Or are we just allowing this to play out because we know the blockade's going on, everything that is taking place? They really have no other way to go other than working through emissaries, maybe setting up an embassy in Caracas again, and working through their CIA assets to communicate. And who's to say the second in two is really in charge, and she's just not a puppet that someone else is there speaking on her behalf?
That the lady Machado, she's definitely a tool through CIA and Mossad.
Yeah.
Via Israel and all that. So
I definitely agree with that.
Not too keen on her.
Yeah.
And then the other guy that I forget his name, that was actually elected, that got this election stolen from him. He's the guy that's probably.
Your voice thing is cutting out, so I think
he's the guy that Trump is probably.
Yeah, you gotta. It's not working. All right, moving on. Okay, you got to figure that your sound's not working. Carlisle, gift of the can. I'm just concerned about blood pressure, Brett. Yeah, okay. Put a shot of Hennessy in your tea and smoke a fat Cuban cigar. I probably would join you. You know, Darla, I would definitely join you. I'm not a Hennessy. You know what? I don't like Hennessy. I don't. I do like. I'm not a big Cavassier Hennessy. I like brandy, but not those brandies. I'm not a big fan of that per se. I mean, I don't really drink brandy. I like Amaro, Italian Amaro. If you know what Amaro is, everybody look it up. It's an Italian liqueur. I'm big on that. If you believe that. Oh my God, Brett! I just found season 2 of Designated Survivor. You know what? I know of that show, but I never watched it. I know a lot of people are talking about it. Yell some more, Brett. Yeah, I don't know. I'm told to shut up, sit back, just read notes, sing them all. Yep, that's my favorite, baby. You know it and I know it. Sing them all until there's no more malt left. He looks worn out like he aged overnight. Who, me? Is that what you're saying? I looked aged overnight? I would say not me. All right, moving on.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, I can hear you now. You were just breaking up. I mean, I could hear you, but you were breaking up.
Yeah. Well,
You know
I
what
mean,
I'm
I was just saying that the Machado,
Yeah, go ahead. No, I'm sorry.
the woman that gave him the Peace Prize, she's
Yeah.
trying to give him a payoff. She's trying to curry favor with him.
Well, what do you think about her? Do you think you think that she's
I
completely?
don't trust her at all.
Right.
I don't trust her. I don't know.
Right.
And, you know, the other lady that they're actually the CIA guy, Ratlick, meeting with,
Mm-hmm.
well, I think we've already got everything dialed in. That's the way it looks like to me.
So that's what
Everything
you're
is already
thinking.
set
You're
in
thinking
stone.
that in some way. Look, I agree with you. I don't trust her either. There is something that President Trump is hinting to, Marshall, that he's suggesting that she might not be on the up and up, that he's basically putting that out there and saying, she's a wonderful woman. Like he always says, when he says, oh, they're good people and blah, 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 it means they're not. Like I always look at what President Trump says and think the opposite. Brett, not you, Lindsey Graham. No, Lindsey Graham, Alita, looks very
he's
tired.
Beat up. He's beat up.
He looks like he got beat up with like 10 fucking dicks. They beat the shit out of him. He don't know what to do. They don't know what
He
to do.
doesn't look that way when that happens. He's all happy when that happens. I mean, come on.
I don't know about
He's got
that.
He's got the
He's
morning
getting old,
glow.
man. Yeah, exactly. I mean, honestly, I don't know.
That fruit cake is screwed.
Oh man. I mean, honestly, he's got to get
He's
new
stoned.
loafers.
He doesn't even know it.
Yeah, I mean, take those inserts out because being light and the loafers don't matter anymore. He likes to drink. Does he?
He's got
Drink
some
what?
butt plug.
Drink what? A certain milky goo? I mean, is that what he
Like
drinks?
Tim Waltz guy.
Yeah, him and Tim Walsh drink the same horse fucking cum? Come on.
Ugh.
All right, sorry about that. All right, so holy smokes, President Trump already deported enough illegal aliens in Minnesota for Blue State to lose a congressional seat. That means one electoral college. The Blue States built powerful off illegals. 20-30 sentence will be brutal for them. Left, red states will be okay. They're arresting all these people. They arrested a whole family of illegals, criminal illegals. The mom, the father, and the children. They were all committing crimes. So you got a whole inbred family of monsters. So we're just importing the monsters. That's what we're importing.
And the American family that's living in their SUV
could
have been their house.
Yep, and they stole it. They stole it through what?
Stole an American's
They
house.
stole their identity. Think about all the identity theft. Think about all this other crazy stuff that's happening. I'm going to move on. I got to fast track this. All right. I got to cover these things. We got to go. We're just going to go. All right. So bear with me. Like, share, and subscribe. Drop us a gold pill. Comments, questions, concerns. Help us out. Help out Marshall. Ko-fi.com/surfdog74. Hit us up on Rumble Rants or buymeacoffee.com/surfdog74.
You got to yell more.
I got to yell more. Apparently, I was told if I yell more, I'm a fucking idiot. Someone said that. Please leave the chat. I'm not gonna ban you, but you know what? Don't call me an idiot. If you want to attack me,
everybody else.
One thing
likes
I'm not
to
is
yell.
an idiot. Just say shut the fuck up, and I'm okay with that. All right.
Keep yelling.
So you're suggesting that it's Israel shooting the Iranian people. Iranian Foreign Minister Mossad has already confessed to that. Well, they're in Mar-a-Lago right. Apparently, they're in Florida right now. I'll show you that in a second. So here we go right now. I thought he was holding a cigar with this thing up, but he goes out. Listen to this. I thought he was saying,
It does.
It's Israel.
It look like he's making a deal.
Suggesting that it's Israel and Mossad acting like Iranian forces, shooting the Iranian people to make casualties to spur on the action of President Trump. I'm just saying there's a lot of people that don't believe that, Mr. Foreign Minister.
No, Mossad has already confessed that.
They may be on the ground, sir, but
he just admitted they're on the ground, and yes, it is true. Israel is on the ground. There are many different subversive elements inside of Iran right now. I'm not implying, and nor do I have any factual evidence to convey one way or another, or to say we're there. All we know that there are subversive elements there helping orchestrate and facilitate the actual takedown of this regime. So I don't know. Big Bagel Conference, West Palm. Yeah, I'm going to cover that in a second.
as far as them killing hundreds and hundreds of people to make it look like you did, it does not appear in the video that we get out. And you're suggesting that it's Israel and
All right,
Mossad.
Marshall, let me go this. So, I mean, what do you think? You
Whose
said that
side
to me.
he's on. Brett. I mean,
Brett
not
Baer.
you, Brett, but
No.
their Brett.
Well, you
can see
the
whose side
true
he's
name
on.
Brett has to be completed with 2 T's. When you have 1 T, it's incomplete and you're a loser.
Yeah, that guy. But you can see that channel is definitely not liking what that guy was saying.
No, Fox
Because
News
they're
was definitely
controlled.
pushing back.
They're controlled, man.
There you go. Big Bagel Conference right now, as you talked about, Omega Pill. Mossad Chief Berneri said in U.S. he's in Florida to discuss Iran as protests subside after the killings. So Mossad Director David Berneri was reported to arrive in Florida, so I guess he's going to meet Trump. The protest movement in Iran has subsided after the crackdown has killed thousands of the theocratic system. Israel's spy chief is expected to meet with the White House envoy Steve Witkoff in Miami. The Axios News reported, adding the latter was managing director communications. We don't know if he's going to meet with Trump. The threat of military action by the U.S. against Iran also appeared to recede. So Israel is reported to have asked Trump to delay any military action against Iran. So they're saying, Israel's saying they told Trump, don't hit him. So does that actually confirm or deny that they had people on the ground? I would say that would confirm that they actually have people there in Iran on the ground, because why would you not want the United States when all you do is beg us every other fucking month, all right, after Ramadan, hit Iran, bomb the hell out of it. Let's just bomb it every fucking month. It's another month of fucking, when are we going to bomb Iran? But you told Trump and the administration, let's not do it now. That means there are people on the ground subversively working to overthrow the government. That's what it means to me. Israel was reported to have asked Trump to delay any military action. When has Israel ever asked President Trump or this administration to delay to attack Iran? So what we just saw earlier confirms that the foreign minister may be correct, that they're already there. that there are elements of the Israeli Mossad and many other intelligence apparatus that are there to help foment, to help bring down internally the regime. When you know they're funneling out hundreds of millions of dollars to Qatar and all these other places, the sons, the daughters, all these other people, they're dipping out. They're going to leave this place high and dry. And so there are probably a mass amount of contingent intelligence apparatuses behind the scenes ready to prop up the next person. Hopefully that next person or persons are not going to fuck up this country again and give these people what they want. I don't know what it is, but I hope it's not going to be Israel, and they're not going to make this country into a bunch of fucking faggots and trans. Aloha Mom donating 300 gold pills, emptying out my gold pill chest. Bombastic show, Brett and Marshall. My paw Hana dose of sanity. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate you like it. I like your commentary on my Telegram show, We Are Rise Free. Please sign up there, ladies and gentlemen. Drop a lot of good stuff there. Thank you, Thea, for the cookie. Marshall, your reaction. I mean, when has Israel said, please don't bomb Iran for our sake? I mean,
it's almost like somebody's telling them, you know what, deal with it on your own.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it kind of.
That's why I don't buy it. That's why I don't buy it.
Yeah, it's yeah. I mean, do what you got to do. But the best part of all of it is Trump said, nah, we're not going to go in there and start doing all this.
Well, they're saying
we'll
Israel told Trump
stuff.
and then Trump shut it down. See, that's what it's making.
Right.
That's the other contingent point in this discussion, that he's the puppet and they're telling him don't. No, Trump says, no, I did it. It was me. But they're arguing that Israel told Trump not to do it. Again, when do you believe that Israel would ever tell President Trump not to bomb Iran? That's my point. That is the predicate of that. It's all bullshit. Exactly.
They're trying to make it sound like they're the big cock on the block.
Right. They're the big
not.
Swinging dick and saying,
They're
oh, no,
longer,
we told Trump don't do it, and he didn't do it.
And that's because they're no longer the big dick.
Right.
They're not the big dick anymore. Goodbye.
Right. That's exactly it.
So anyway.
Breaking, White House confirms after hearing oral arguments from Lindsey Graham, SCOTUS is likely to uphold President Trump's sweeping tariffs. It's going to go through. That means, you know what? Nanny, boo-boo. All those tariffs, we're going to make them bigger, and we're going to shove them up your ass. Here we go.
Analysis is on our side, and we've talked about that on your show before, so I won't have to go into the details of that. But we also have a backup plan that's really solid. We can put a 10% tariff on right away.
We got a backup plug.
Most of the room,
shove it up
and
Lindsey
then
Graham's
use
ass.
things like the 301 authorities, the 232 authorities, to backfill the things that we've already achieved with these great deals with the countries. I expect that the Supreme Court is going to be really, really supportive of the president's plan, because look at all of the things that we've created this year. We've got a huge reduction in the deficit. We've got really, really high economic growth, and inflation is way down. If you look at the consumer price index,
3%. It was 9% over Biden. It was even higher
at an annual rate at only 1.6%.
But again, the influencers don't want to tell you.
And so the idea that the tariffs,
things are going down, rent is going down, mortgages, healthcare, we got a ton of stuff. President Trump, but again, they're doing everything they can to blockade it. Darla, give to the can. Soon the Muslims won't have anywhere to go. People are sick of these dumb fucks. No, they're going to return to their homes because they'll have a righteous place to go, because they will not be under duress and have to flee from a lot of stuff. We're getting into Greenland. We're going to go into Greenland hard. All right. And then we might just end with that. But
and eggs are $1 a dozen where I live now.
Yeah. Eggs, gas, whatever. All that stuff. Whatever. Well, it doesn't even matter. I mean, it doesn't, like, at this point, if you go buy a pair of jeans and you go to Nordstrom and they're like $300, well, then you go to Nordstrom Rack and they're like half the price or less than that. Or you go to Macy's. That's what it is. That's capitalism. You go shop where things are cheaper. Not every place is going to be cheaper for you. Not every gas station is going to have the same gas, even though it should. It's unfortunate it's not. But the reality is that's the scenario that we're living in. You have to find and seek out. Things are coming down. Things are getting better. And I'm sick and tired of saying, well, Trump's not focused on it. He is multitasking left and right. I could see it in the mortgage enterprise. I could see it in rentals. I could see it in home buying. If in February we cut and they cut rates by another quarter to a point, we'll be in the 5.5s. It's going to be massive, ladies and gentlemen. There's going to be a buying stream like you've never seen before. And also his executive order, and he's going out to Davis, the cock block, BlackRock, Vanguard, and all these other companies of buying conglomerates out there, and in some way of buying up properties and rentals. The largest guy right now that owns land in the United States owns 2.7 million acres of land. Steve Kroenke owns the LA Rams. He's come out and told President Trump he wants to buy all this land so he could sell it to the government, and so they can have individual buyers build houses on it for affordable housing that's not going to be weighed in as government housing. He wants to sell all plots of land for individuals, for properties and stuff. We don't want government housing. We don't want controlled renting, but he wants to sell off a portion for low-income things for certain people. I'm okay with that. You know, if you're a first-time homeowner and you're a young buck under 30 or under, let's just say under 35, you fit a norm. Have the provisions, you know, and you're a certain thing, you make a certain amount of money, that opportunity should be afforded to you. And you have to be white.
Starter home.
You have to be white because blacks, Hispanics, Asians, and every other fucking class in America gets their own fucking shit. It's time we get back to white people. Protect your race. It's the only thing that matters. It will be the only thing that matters in the future to you, to your children, and your grandchildren. President Trump said he may impose tariffs on countries if they don't go along with Greenland. I'm just not going to read you any more about that. But since now we know that the European Union is garbage, they're going to fucking backdoor us, destroy us, attack us. And I got a lot on that. Let me just show you this right now. I'm just fast tracking this right now. They're going to do this now that we know that the Supreme Court is going to hold up tariffs. He's going to double down. He's going to double down on tariffs and say, hey, you know what? EU or, you know, Denmark or what other shithole, you know, you got UK, France, Germany, all want to get in. And they all want to cock block. Well, we're going to double down. We're going to triple down on these. You're not going to do anything. All right. There's other things that are going on that are not economic per se. Colorado Congresswoman says Democrats are planning to impeach Trump. Yes, they will. According to Peterson's office, nearly 8,000 Coloradans were on the call, which featured the congressman talking about the need to fight Trump administration. ICE, now we're coming up on January 30th. They're planning on shutting down the government again over ICE. Don't believe any of these people. That's the plan. I want people to know that we're here to support in every way that we can. We're not alone. She said during the town hall, and we'll continue to fight back. We're taking questions. One constituent asked Peterson, would you vote to impeach President Trump? Well, acknowledging it's highly unlikely at this moment, but there will be a successful impeachment of Trump. She continued, meaning what she's saying is when we steal back the election. That's what she's saying. So the idea that it's out there, that it's furnishing, that people are out there percolating this and saying they're using this as a narrative, as a discussion, as a talking point, that if you elect us, we'll impeach President Trump. And they're also using the ICE discussion. All right, let me continue on. All right. I don't know if I should show this. Let me just jump to this because we're out of time. I'm gonna give you this point, and I'm gonna read you this. I didn't want to read you this, but this is another discussion that we're going to have. This comes from the Gazette Teller. But I'm going to say this first. Is Trump maneuvering NATO to position itself to protect Greenland? No. By threatening arms seizure of the Arctic region and thus doing so gets them to pay for all of it? No. Is this just about what? Forgive and forget, and a conclusion, a certainty that an inflection point of gaining control will be determined by Trump's administration view about leaving NATO? Yes. Yes and no. Or is this just about choreographing the reception, the feedback, and ultimately the never-ending untimely amount of greed and theft that the EU, Denmark, will conclusively bargain for, and eventually beg for? The liability and susceptibility that is what we look at Greenland, the hindrance of the EU, the answerability by NATO will be exposed. Let me just express this in some way. It appears this way for one reason, but it's not what's really going on. We're going to cover this. I'm going to skip through this real quickly because I don't really want to get into the muck and stuff. Why is Macron so obsessed? Look at the nuke protocols. This is the nuke, the people, not nuke. This is the secret deal meeting that is being buried. Weeks ago, a backroom memorandum was signed between the French government and the dying establishment of Copenhagen. In exchange for the human shields, the Europeans were promised exclusive backdoor access to Cavenfell and to Rants deposits. These are zinc and uranium earth deposits, uranium and rare minerals. This is the fuel. There's a project that's going on right now of mining that's taking place right now that's been going on for a while. This is the fuel for the next century, and the globalists that are trying to claim Trump is right under our noses. They know that if President Trump secures Greenland, their monopoly on tech supply chain is finished. They're defending Denmark. They're defending their own portfolios. They saw what happened on January 3rd. Operation Absolute Resolve in Venezuela was a wake-up call, and globalists never expected it. In a single surgical strike, Trump proved that the era of strategic patience is over. The Europeans realized the Donroe Doctrine is real, and the president is prepared. The same hard power to secure the Arctic. They sent 37 soldiers, French, German, Swedish, and British, to act as a tripwire. They think that the American president won't move. There's a risk of hitting European boot. They're betting on our strength. Here's the key. We're already there, ladies and gentlemen. The former base tool, which I believe it's now called, there's an actual term for it, that there's a different name for it. I'll get to it. It's bifidic. The way it's pronounced is not. While the high-level working group announced after the Vance-Rubio meeting on Wednesday, busy spinning its wheels, the real action is happening underground. For the last 48 hours, seismic sensors have been picking up activity, and the Europeans can't explain. That's why the U.S. has already begun silent revitalization of the Project Iceworm sites. We're going back under the ice. These cities under ice, we talked about the underground bunkers, converted to the core processing hubs for the global dome. To back this up, 200 elite special operation forces personnel quietly moved into Bifidic. It's not Bifidic, but it's Bifidic Space Base, formerly Tool, just this morning. They aren't even there or a working group. They are there because President knows that the easy way ended when the French landed in Nuuk. All right, so you can see the troops that are going there. Denmark's Lars Løkke Rasmussen had the nerve to say there's no immediate danger for China or Russia. Here's the argument. He's either a fool or he's in on the deal. Chinese research vessels are already mapping the seabed for submarine lanes. The Russians are patrolling outside the 12-mile limit. Denmark can't stop them, but they're more than happy to try and stop us. President Trump was 100% right on Truth Social. Anything less than the U.S. and Greenland is unacceptable. The European Operation Arctic Endurance is a bluff, a sabotage mission, and a betrayal of NATO alliance, all rolled into one. The lines are drawn. The Iceworm 2 infrastructure is already humming under the frozen ground. We're already there, ladies and gentlemen. And what I'll say this, if in some way they are sabotaging us and trying to sabotage us in this way to get ahead of the curve, when we're already there, supplanting the operation for the projects that are taking place in the former military base Tool, that it's I can't pronounce it, Bifutic, that are already there, then why are they sending troops there after the fact? What are they trying to do? Why are they trying to send an incursion there? Are they trying to draw into the idea that the United States is willing to go against its partners? You have the Prime Minister of Canada come out and say, we're ready to do battle with the United States at any moment over Greenland. So are we looking at, Marshall, a possibility of going to war with our own NATO allies or getting into some type of small skirmish or incursion that will be reported in some way, which will hopefully end our finalization, our unity, a draw into this NATO allied scenario? And will that be actually told to the American public?
No, I don't think we're going to be in anything with these people because they'll lose in a heartbeat. What I do think is there is a lot of information up there in the Arctic that we don't know about.
Are we ever going to know about it?
I think we are. I think we're on the precipice. I think we're getting very close to that. I think that's what Trump
So this is the push for this, or what?
I
Is
think
this the
Trump
push
is
for it?
trying to get us there. There's a lot of hidden shit up there. We all know it.
Right.
We
I
just-
believe there's
we just
underground
try to
bases
pretend
there. I
like
believe
there's
that there's
nothing- right.
there's a whole
you
fortress
name it.
there. There's a whole
Somebody
there's a
mentioned a Stargate. Well, there's a possibility of something like that too.
I don't know. Yeah. I mean, look, whatever. It's the same argument that we had with Iraq. I mean, there's just a lot of stuff that's there that we don't know about. We don't know what's happening.
Reminds me of the movie The Thing.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I mean,
Great movie.
Just saying. I mean, there is a lot there that they don't want us
Well,
to see.
we're already there ahead of the curve. They're saying they're sending troops in there and stuff. Why are they sending 34, 35 people? What is 34, 35 certain special envoy operators going to do there in some way? What are they there? Are they there to watch us? Are they there to assist us? Because how we're reading this in some way looks like they're looking to do recon there in some way to find out what is happening. But if we already see that China and Russia are participating in some type of, let's just say, infrastructure or mapping or seabed takeover, or they're already there, and President Trump is saying he's putting us 10 months ahead of the time that we're going to be engaged in something over there. Let's get ready. Let's let people know. Let's put it out there. Let's drop this out. A lot of people saying before the end of this first quarter, we'll own Iceland. No, whether we own it or do they surrender it to us? I personally think we're going to Greenland. I think Greenland's going to be it. I think Greenland's going to be hit, and that will force their hand. I think that there might be an incursion that we might have to take over in some way. I mean, look at this guy. Canadian leader vows to help China establish New World Order. Another discussion about New World Order. Mine is the first visit to Canadian Prime Minister. China in nearly a decade, the order's changed so much, and I believe the progress that we made in the partnership set us up well for a new world order. I'm not going to play this. Why discuss this and use the Bank of London, the Crown talking points? In Germany, Frank-Walter Steinmeier launched a public attack on President Trump this week, accusing him of abandoning global order. So is President Trump walking away from NATO and the old world order? And that's why Canada is seeking out new viable constructs and business with China. President Trump made a similar deal to the Canadian Prime Minister and to Canada, and they turned it down. So why reject President Trump, but yet sign a deal with China? What would, in some way, is it just to snub your nose, to spite your face in some way? It would seem so. This is the question that's put out by Amused. Great question. My question is, why would he agree to terms with China when he flatly refused the U.S.? It's one thing to stand up to the terms he thought were fair, but to give your enemy the terms you won't give your ally is just dumb. No, it's not just dumb. Again, you're cutting off your nose to spite your face, but it's much more than that. They know what's taking place. The United States is no longer playing ball in the New World Order game. So they're reshifting. The EU, UK, and Canada are reshifting, retooling this order. And they're part of NATO. That's why I think NATO is untimely scenario is coming to a head. Look at this. Canada agrees to cut 100% tariff on Chinese EVs in return for lower duties on Canadian farm products in a break with the U.S. Wow. We're moving trade barriers to unlock billions of dollars in business, Canadian farmers, fish harvesters, and work across the agri-food services. By March 1st, we're expecting that China will lower the tariffs on Canadian canola from 84% to 15%, and the Canadian canola meals, peas, lobster, and crab will no longer be subject to anti-discrimination tariffs. You had an opportunity to forge another deal out. Why would you choose to work out then? Trump came out today before he left for Mar-a-Lago and said, good, let them make a deal. They should make a deal. It's beneficial for them. They didn't want to do a deal with us, so what? They did a deal with China. China already owns Canadian politicians. Yes, Sealed 7, exactly. China and the Muslim population inside of Canada has wholly been captured, Marshall.
Yeah, and it's not good.
No, it's not good at all.
I mean, they're going to do what they got to do. And it's really, I think all this stuff is playing out exactly the way it is supposed to. People don't understand that there are timelines. And I think we are in a timeline, Brett, where everything happens at a certain time. It's predestined. It's predetermined, in my opinion.
Preordained. I think that's a better term.
That's just my opinion. I think this has already been laid out, all of it. And we're just seeing it. And then people get enraged and they're like the fraud and all this other stuff. And they're like, wait a minute. What happened to my country? Everybody in this country should get a cut of all this money. In my opinion, that's what was it? Ted Nugent said the other day.
Mm-hmm.
They should everybody should just, all the American people should get a break and get a cut of some of this money. I mean, it's billions and trillions. I mean, who knows? I mean, I don't know what else to say on it, Brad. I mean, it's very frustrating.
Thea gifted the cookie. Trump won with the cookie. Would USA 817 gold pills need more? Gold pill love. Support the boy stream. Thank you. Darla gifted the can. Yes, thank you so much. Please support the platform. Like, share, and subscribe. Drop us a gold pill. Hit the red pill. Hit the bell to be notified. Help out Marshall. Ko-fi.com/surfdog74. Carney's a cunt. What a piece of shit. Cannon is so corrupt. Yeah, FYMM66. I live in Chinata. I'm sorry to hear that. What province do you live in? I've been to British Columbia, Vancouver. Beautiful over there, but very dirty and very crime-ridden. That's what I noticed. And I was told before I went there, this is what you need to do to secure your person and your property. I do like the duty-free when I was there. I mean, fucking cigars. I mean, to buy Cuban cigars, it was like a joke. Embarrassing.
You got to dress
like one cigar is like $100. I'm like, fuck you. I mean, it was just embarrassing. Canada's against his own people. Yeah, it's not the Canadian people. It's the bureaucrats. It's the corrupt politicians, the bought and paid off people. I'm not talking about the good, hard, decent people of Canada that are white. And I extremely express that are white. Everybody else can fuck off and die. But my attitude about how they're treated there needs to be an uprising. Things need to change. PM Carney, post-election 2026.
We're heartened by the leadership of President Xi Jinping and the speed with which our relationship has progressed in recent months. And I believe the progress that we have made in the partnership sets us up well for the new world order. I think the biggest security.
So the Bank of London guy that's being forced to do this by his overlords are saying that. That's why he took the deal with China. He is fucked 7 days from Sunday on terrible. Yes, I love that. FYMM66 on terrible. I love that. All right. How much time we got?
He's a product of the United Kingdom.
Yes.
That's all he is.
Yep.
He's a tool for them.
Exactly.
And they just.
Well, he's the old water, the old new water establishment that is.
And they're gone, and they can't take it.
Yeah, and that's why he made a deal with China, because the new world order that is being taking place is, you think, the BRICS countries, but it's more about Trump, United States, Russia, China, Saudi Arabia, many other different affiliates that are involved behind the scenes that are working to bring up a new logical path that is not controlled systematically by, it's hemispheric. It's not global and independent and divine on one certain religion or government per se. It is hemispheric, and it's going to be broken down in many different variables. But that will be that type of chosen order. Here we go. Trump advisor says President Trump creating the new world order. And again, a lot of the stuff discussed. Hassett says the director of the National Economic Council boasted on Fox Business that Trump is creating the new world order. Charles Payne on Thursday, what viewers would expect Trump Davos speech will be this year. As a replied, there will be some look at the new world order that President Trump is creating. You know, a lot of countries that were whining about tariffs 6 months ago were saying that President Trump was going to harm their economies. Had pretty good years, he continued. And I think it's in part because people recognize that Trump has made it so, and that we're a shining city on the hill again. And now that the Supreme Court is going to move forward in rectifying and put out a majority opinion, I don't know if it's going to be 6-3, 7-2, what have you, but they're leaning towards the idea of making so that tariffs are going to be the way that we can do business, and that President Trump or any other future administration will have the authority to use it and will not be deemed in the fashion that it was, unnecessary burdens or tariffs. And I believe in some way this will change our economic status going forward, that every president thereafter will continue on this and make sure that we can have this and will not have to go back to the Fed. I think the Fed is going to die this year. It's going to be enveloped by the Treasury, which is happening right now. It's collapsing under its own weight. Powell is not going to be fired. He will resign in a couple of months. As said, there's certain other people that are going to be, let's just say, moved in and moved out. The IRS, this might be your last year. We're hearing Bissett saying that the greatest amount of money that's going to leave the Treasury to go to the American public. Well, I'll hold off when I see it. But the New World Order, what now? React to the bulwarks. Andrew Egger, while conspiracy theory expert Mike Rothschild asked, a New World Order, huh? Wasn't Trump supposed to be the guy who shattered the New World Order and spread it to the four winds? It is an interesting point. Why are we still talking in that convoluted vernacular of a paradigm that no longer fits its bill that we were told what it was decades ago and how it was going to be postulated and theorized out? Are we redirecting the terminology, the verbiage? Is this the syntax is going to be broken down, as you said, hemispherically? Is it going to be broken down from a North American to a South American region? Is it going to be broken down continent to continent? What are we to expect with the same choice words that are going to be expressed, but in a different context and a different syntax?
Well, it's like that movie. What was it? The Americans or whatever, the Patriot Americans.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of American are you? Okay. Well, the question is, what was it? The New World Order. What kind of New World Order are you looking for?
Mm-hmm.
That would be my question. And there could be one kind of New World Order, which is the George Bush Sr. New World Order, or is there the Donald Trump New World Order?
Yeah,
where everybody has
the
their
Monroe Doctrine, which I think is picking up steam. And no one even looks at the Monroe Doctrine anymore. They call it the Monroe Doctrine, and then you can utilize that discussion and how the vernacular is, and then parse that out and say, well, that's the equivalency to what the New World Order is. There are two sides to the same Count Brett, aloha mom, Darlell, Golden Age. Okay. Who else is here? Absolutely, Brett, Sausage Launcher. Well, thank you. Quantum Respawn, the entirety of the world, Fiat says, we will soon come down as a controlled demolition. Look, I do believe that. And I never believed in any way that we were going to pay back. I mean, you could see, all of us can see that the $38 trillion, the $40 trillion we're at, was part of the grift and the graft stolen from us, given out to all these countries and all these shills that are inside our domain and that have been bleeding us dry from in. That's what it is. So will it collapse on its own? Yeah, absolutely. Because how is this money going to be paid back if the money's already been spent? Who is going to come collecting, and how is it going to be paid back? I mean, how are these people, if the money's going to, through assets, through property, through forced seizures? Yeah, many other types of things, but let's face it, you'd have to consider that it's not going to be enough to keep this boat from sinking. There are too many holes in the ship. There's not enough plugs. And so you might have to go down with the ship and then come up with a raft to breathe fresh water. I mean, that's the only way. GRU Space Take. I got this from Globe Trender, and we'll dip out after this. Oh, did they just... No. Yeah, this is a whole thing. Wait a minute. All right. Oh. So apparently, here it is. Listen to this. GRU Space takes $1 million reservations for a lunar hotel. We're going back in February. Like, the point is, like, we never were there to begin with, but yes, we're going back and we're astroturfing knots to go up there. We're setting up hotels and bases, and we're going to charge you $1 million for a reservation to have a lunar hotel. California startup GRU says it plans to build a hotel on the moon by 2032 with recreational activities such as low-gravity golf and lunar walks. I mean, what in the fucking holy hell? Also known as GRU Space says it's now accepting deposits from wealthy adventurers. So, you know, the rest of us paupers, we can never go to the moon to be among the first guests. You know where I want to go? When the ice melts on the other side of the Arctic. I want to go to Asgard. I want to go to these regions.
Or Mars.
That
Mars
are here, terrestrial, on this planet, not outside in some vacuous state of orbit. I want to go there. I want to sail in a Viking ship. I want to drink blood, okay, that looks like wine. All right, so I can go there with my Viking guard and become what? One of the Asgard people. What in the holy hell are we doing? Applicants must first pay non-refundable U.S. $1,000 application fee. If selected, they can choose to make a U.S. $250,000 to U.S. $1 million refundable deposit to reserve a spot to a future hotel. My advice is we should be looking into this company and see if the Somalians, okay, were fucking using some of this money to funnel out there.
Good point.
I mean, honestly. I mean, did they have the acumen to do this? Ultimately, a stay at the Lunar Hotel could cost $10 million per guest. One launch, transport, occupation, training, and operational costs are included. I thought we lost all the data, all the systems, all the stuff that we can't go back there. And now, in a couple of years, we'll have a hotel there. It'll be Epstein's Island on the moon.
It'll be Total Recall. You're living in a fake moon.
Oh my God!
Total Recall. It's a total fake. Everything is fake.
I mean,
around you.
This GRU describes the project
What a scam.
as the first permanent off-structure aim. Am I looking at Blade Runner? Off colonies, we're gonna have clones. I mean, is this where we're headed?
I like the Viking idea.
I mean, honestly, I want to sail in a Viking ship to Asgard when the ice melts. Brett is right. Space the way
the girls on the butt. You know, come on.
Give me the hammer. I mean,
yeah, you're carrying them over your shoulder, you women, all that. You know, come
drinking
on.
Drinking that ale. I
mean, hatchet and all that shit.
Oh my God! I mean, it's just nuts. Sucker scam. I just want to see what anybody's thinking.
Hang out on the moon.
All right, here's the last point of another crazy thing that I found. Anybody see this guy? Palmer Luckey. I'm sure, listen to the name. Palmer Luckey. I'm sure you've seen this guy, and he's on your side. He was on Joe Rogan. Look at this shit. Watch this. After he founded a new company called Anduril, which makes next-gen military equipment for the U.S. and does it at a fraction of the price of the current stuff. In other words, it's extremely likely most of the next-gen tech was used in the Maduro raid in Venezuela, created by this guy. Listen to this.
This is a new product. It's called Eagle Eye. So I've got the helmet on here. And then what I have is this pair of augmented reality glasses. And I put them on. These sync with the helmet and with these sensors. This is a system that allows everybody to basically be operating as one combined hive mind where you can all share a view of the world. And by the way, this view that I have, it's shared now with all of the robots as well. So anything I see, like let's see I see someone inside of a building, every drone and every person now sees that person where he is. There's a view that's coming up here where you're going to notice a drone picks up a guy behind that container over there. And what's going to happen is when he walks behind that container, I'm able to continue to see where he is and what he's doing. So the blue force is my friendlies. So see that little right-hand corner where it sees behind the containers? They're tracking where the bad guy is. They're tracking where my guys are. And then watch when they go behind the container. So I can actually see through it and watch. Now they're engaging the guy over there, and he's down.
I got more. That's insane. Listen to this.
There is a just reason to rise to the occasion that we're able to, but I just don't think that we have it in us. Look at the kids who are on the beaches in Normandy on D-Day.
Yeah.
Do you think that we have a few million of those?
I do not. You'd much rather have our wars and battles being fought with the kind of hardware that you're creating. Better to have the gear over there than our blood and treasure.
That's right.
Well, at least
replace a seatbelt when the law says you have to have a seatbelt, and here's exactly what a seatbelt is. It's anyway. But the point is, these tightly regulated spaces, it's where you see the least innovation, which is why I'm crazy for starting a company in the defense space, because it's so highly regulated.
And yet, you're talking about the trap of doing it right.
Yep.
In other words, just because you're in compliance doesn't mean you're out of danger.
Yep.
The theory, as I understand it, goes back to something called homeostatic risk or risk equilibrium or compensatory risk, right? And this, I'd love to get your take on this. The unintended consequence of introducing
Listen to this.
various mandates and safety protocols will make you safer environmentally, but emotionally, you will compensate.
Sure.
So now you know you're safer because your seatbelt's on, your helmet's on, you're locked in 5 points. Every study indicates that the driver who feels that way will accelerate, corner more tightly.
That's right.
And take more chances, not on purpose, but because your brain is trying to get back to some sort of equilibrium that is only pegged to your individual tastes, and everybody's protocols are different.
That is an interesting way of like designing this type of gear, of giving people more of the opportunity to be more fastidious, more, let's just say, pragmatic, taking more risk. And that's what this guy's designs are. He's setting this up metaphysically in some neural genic way of creating technology for certain things to be implemented at various types of stages and theaters that has to be done. And there is an argument that made, I might just drop this in the chat, that his technology, we don't know in some way, because I don't believe that it was his technology per se. And I believe that the acquisition of the technology from the Biden administration about this Havana stuff, whether it's these sonic booms, Sonic the Hedgehog, or sonic plasma weapons, were the facilitation to augment and render a lot of these Cuban nationals, military, helpless, and they were basically just destroyed, slaughtered. A lot of people describing their ears and their eyes and their head melting,
right.
and I mean crazy stuff, like straight out of like Raiders of the Lost Ark. Their head was melting, their eyes were bleeding, like someone just fucking shot a load of Ebola in their face, and they were just bleeding out of their orifices. It's quite shocking. I would take the time. There's another one here. There's another video. I would take the time. I dropped it in the chats to go watch this. I watched this, and I was blown away about hearing about these types of, let's just say, people that are in these positions to augment our reality, from a psychological to a military, to a lot of defense to an offense. Quite shocking in some way that his technology was used in the Maduro raid, Marshall.
Yeah, and I think that was used during, absolutely, during the Venezuela deal. And we've got so much more technology that probably hasn't even been shown to us yet. I think a lot of these guys, like that guy that was on that video there, these guys are like gamers and stuff.
Yeah.
These gamer people.
That's my point. Go back and watch it. I dropped it in the chat.
I'm not into the gaming, but these guys, they're really zoned. And when you do these games, I mean, I've watched the, like videos of them, but you can see how their mindset can go into. It's very interesting, and look, man, that's what's putting us ahead of everybody else, Brett.
Linda Perino on YouTube. I think we're going to have a new government. Yeah, I mean, depending on where that government's coming from.
I think it's all going.
I'm in Orlando and it's cold, Linda Perino. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure. I know. I used to live in Orlando. I went to college there. Central Florida gets cold in the middle of the state. It does. I know. I lived in. I love Winter Park. Great area. It's changed a lot, but yeah, it gets cold there. I lived in Orlando. I went to college at UCF. I transferred there. Biggest regret of my life. Oh, you're in Pensacola, you said. You're in Pensacola? I'm in Orlando and it's cold. You said Pensacola.
Oh,
I'm freezing my buns off. I don't know where
you're
from.
Shit up there, man.
Yeah, it's got to be. Did it snow in Jacksonville? Let me know. Did it snow? I mean, a lot of people saying I'm going to be
hour for me. There's no way it snowed in Jacksonville. No way.
I'm sure the military has had and some for decades. Yeah, I mean, there is stuff that's like the rail gun. The rail gun in the first, what is it in the movie? What is it? The Transformers. The rail gun was featured in the first or the second one, and that's been out for a while. Winter Park is still fun, Brett. Yep, I know Winter Park is a very beautiful place.
I hang out at the villages.
Yeah, not downtown Orlando. I can tell you that right. That's ghetto. But yeah, you hanging out the villages?
That's a joke.
I hope you're wrapping it. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. I hope you're wearing a fucking bubble wrap. You don't want to get.
I don't go there.
I mean, I would bring my own silverware if I'm eating at a diner because I don't
Golf
want to get into this.
Get kind of weird over there.
Yeah, I would wear gloves going over there. Yeah, if I'm going to, I'm wearing gloves. Fucking, I want a fucking secondary, tertiary fucking.
Bring some
STDs.
rubbing alcohol.
Yeah, rubbing alcohol, peroxide. Put some Robitussin on it. Get that tussin. All right, that's our show for tonight. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks everybody for being here. Does anyone think maybe all these countries talking the shit up would not want to keep a secret? Of course they would. We're only going to know so much. I mean, the idea that everybody says, well, we're not transparent enough. They're not going to tell you everything. I mean, look, they released all the files about JFK, RFK, all stuff. Did you learn everything? At least they released it. What does that tell you? Either that there's still information missing. There's 6 million documents about Epstein. What have you learned about it? Well, apparently Bongino's saying, and very soon we're going to show you that he killed himself. Okay. I don't care anymore. I really don't care anymore. I'm at this point that Epstein is like here, like at the very bottom. I want to see free energy technology. I want to see Asgard. I want to see the ice wall melt. I think we're going to go to Iceland. I told my wife, we planned a trip like years ago.
I want a free life.
Let's go to Iceland. I'm going to rent a Viking ship.
You mean Greenland?
Greenland? No, I'm going to Iceland. I want to go to Iceland. Iceland's not that far. You just got to fly to New York and then from New York to go there. Yeah, JFK sucks. JFK sucks. So does fucking LaGuardia. It's garbage. Fucking garbage airlines. Too bad you can't fly direct. I'm with Brett. Yeah, I want to go to Asgard. I want to go when the ice melts. I want to go on a Viking ship. I want to go on some type of ship that ventures and cruises out past the Arctic Wall. That's what I want to do. I don't want to go on some rocket ship. I'm not leaving on a jet plane.
I don't want to
even
hang
like
out
to
on the
fucking
moon.
fly. I mean, you'll be lucky to get me hang gliding. But my point is, these types of things, that's what I want to do. All right. That's my show. Good night. Have a great weekend. Be well, be smart, be safe. Ciao, Bella, ladies and gentlemen. That's the end of our show.
Stay warm.